So if you joined me for our art class live meeting, you saw me fill this portion of this sample in with different Zentangle patterns. So I went through how to draw a few of these with you, but just in case you did miss the class, I am going to do a small tutorial for this version here. So again, I just want to remind you, we will only be filling in above the horizon line in each of these sections. And also, you should probably skip using a pencil first. You could use a scratch piece of paper and do some practice Zentangles there before you attempt on your real project if you don't feel confident using something permanent. But I would not waste my time doing a pencil and outlining it. I have 3 different varieties of black marker. I have a Sharpie, just a regular tip, fine points. I have a super skinny black marker, and then I also have a black pen. So that's what I will be using. And let's go ahead and get started. So first, you can always make something just very simple, something that you already know and are familiar with. For instance, you could just use shapes that you know, and you can fill in each section. The key to Zentangling is repetition. So it's not necessarily being perfect with our line work. It's being mindful with our line work for sure. But we just want to create a lot of interest by repeating shapes and lines in a very thoughtful, unique, and interesting way. Okay, so it could be something as simple as that. Okay, let's do something a little more intricate, shall we? Let's see. So since I use something very angular with a lot of pointy corners here, in my next section, I might try to do something that's a little more organic and curvy. So let's try this. This was something that I saw. It kind of creates a basket weave, and you can do it with straight lines or you can use curved lines, but I suggest just picking kind of like a middle point and making yourself like one middle line and then working the pattern outwards from either side. So here's how it works. It uses a series of lines.
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
In a specific pattern to create something interesting. So I'm using 4 lines. You could also use 3. I'm making the lines slightly curved. The key is to curve them in the same direction and kind of try to keep them in uniform in length. Okay, so now from either side, I'll go here in the small space first. I'm gonna pick this little guy. You want to vary, so you want to go for the opposite. So since this is going down, next to it, it needs to be the lines that curve up. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, let's see. So we know since this one goes horizontally, these lines will go vertically. So I'm going to go ahead and fill in this side. All right, so I finished that section. You can see it kind of just makes a bit of a weave pattern to it, and it looks really cool. It's very simple, and it just repeats the same lines over and over, and that's what gives it that pop of interest. If you happen, as you're Zentangling, to make a mistake, you can attempt to hide the mistake in several different ways. You can just leave it and hope that the eye blends it right in together with the rest of the pattern. You can vary your pattern. You can change your pattern. So it just, it's going to require you to be very careful and mindful, you know, but mistakes do occur, and just remember that using drawing skills, you can recover from those mistakes without having to start completely over. Okay, so let's continue. One of my favorite patterns that I have discovered recently, I have several, but this one was really, really, really simple, and I did enjoy it. So here's how it works. It starts with a grid. Ooh. So I just want to make sure that I'm creating lines that follow the same angle and are about equidistant apart. Okay, so I want to cross these lines. Okay. Looks good. Okay, now here's how this works. In each of these boxes, I am going to draw up from the corner and color in. So I'm drawing a little L shape, a little box, and I'm coloring it in. Now, I'm going to keep going, but in each of these spaces that I have left, I'm going to add another set of lines. Okay, so I'm just going to box it in. You want to make sure that these little inside boxes are following the same angles as the outside. This is it. And the effect is really cool. Okay, so I will fill that in, but before I do that, I want to show you something else very simple and another new favorite of mine. So you can, let's see, I'm gonna turn my paper. Okay, so the first thing I am going to draw is some curvy sections, and then I'm gonna fill these in. I wouldn't want to make these stripes going the other way, because that will be confusing since these lines run that direction. I kind of wanted them perpendicular as opposed to parallel. I know I typically say don't color in with Sharpie, but when you're Zentangling, it's a small space. Okay, now we have that. So here's how it looks. Uh-oh. I went outside the line. I want to clean that border up a little bit. And then maybe too, while I'm doing that, just as a thought, I might need to do it over there as well. I'm left-handed, guys, so if you are too, you might need to hold your hand in a strange way. And then maybe go through and just sort of clean up all your borders if you're a perfectionist like I am. Okay, So let's get back on track. In these spots that we have created in these little mini sections, you will very simply create curved lines inside of each. Now it's up to you if you want to vary the curve. I think for this, for some reason, I just seem like I want to go this way. Seems like that will make sense. So super simple. That's it. All right, moving on. I have another new one that I just learned, and then I will use the other paper to show you this right here, because this is another cool one. Okay, right here, I want to create let's see, I think I'm gonna make a little one down here. Okay, now I am going to switch up the thickness of my marker, and I'm gonna show you. You are making a little curved bump, and then you are going to capture it in little bubbles. So it's okay if these lines accidentally touch the line before a couple times. You're not perfect, you're not a robot, and overall, no one will notice. But you don't want to go too far away from your line. Looking at this, my shape is a little bit larger. I think what I need is another connecting arch in between. What we want is for these lines to meet without it overtaking the entire area we have to work with here, because we want to be able to build a second layer of these little rainbows. Okay, let's see. We can imagine that we have one more little arch. Okay, now we can generate a new set wherever we made contact. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and complete this. Alright, y'all, I went ahead and finished in these sections up here, and it just leaves me one left over here. And I want to give you another simple option. You can do lots of things with circles, but you can start with just a couple of small, but maybe like vary the size, a couple smaller than others, circles as starting points. Be sure to use all the space. Make it look a little more random. Okay, let's see how we're doing. Okay, and then I am going to go back and use the thin marker, and I'm just going to add a couple of concentric circles to each of these. You could, if you did not have two different thickness that's okay. Thickness of markers, you could use a pen for this. Okay, now I am going to add a couple more layers. I don't really want these to intersect. Okay, so now right here I made a small mistake, and that is okay because I am just going to continue with the pattern and hopefully your eye won't even focus on it. Okay, so I can continue to fill this space. I can add a couple of other little starting points where I think we need one. And don't forget, you can always vary the pattern. If you make a mistake halfway through, maybe you have to change it. Maybe you have to color something in that you didn't intend on, but it is what it is. What you don't want to do is create just a huge black area. That would not be good. Okay, so that's that. I hope you have enjoyed this. I hope you have picked up some ideas for Zentangling, but this one right here that we had done in class, this area right here started with a grid, and this little design right here was really cool, so I did not finish it with you, and I wanted to show you how you can do it. So if you had just a grid for yourself, a plain grid, you drew some lines vertically and cross them horizontally. Inside of each box, you can create a circle like this, like a little donut. So you want to alternate. So since you colored this one in black, you want to leave this square around white, and you want to color the little donut, but leave the donut whole. Okay, so this guy, we need that center donut and then that outer donut. Now we need to color my marker tips a little bit too big. So you can see that different thicknesses of markers might come in handy because that's gonna need to go black. Okay, so this box stays white. Then we have the little center, and then we have this guy. So this one's a little bit easier. So here we know that this is just gonna be black. And we might only see a shred of the white little donut. Okay. So we would have the white little guy, the black little center, and that kind of makes our stem disappear, but that's okay. Okay, now for this, I have the same grid, and I drew these, like it's a zigzaggy line basically through. So I colored in certain corners. So you can color this, you could alternate and color this. There are several different patterns that you can generate just by a simple grid. The key though is to repeat these patterns within a section. So right here, I've shown you 3 different patterns inside of one section. So I would not recommend that you do that. I would pick one of these and fill an entire area. But I just wanted to show you different ways. So there you have it, friends. Zentangle, again, don't forget, you can use it to meditate. You can use it to fill in any kind of shape. And if you have not followed along with the Still Life with Fruit portion, it does not mean that you cannot use and incorporate Zentangle in any of your other drawing projects. Happy creating, artists. Thanks for watching.